Hi guys, and welcome back to HD Auto. It may be a gloomy and wet day here in Delhi, but the car that we have for you, yes, this one right here, promises to be thunderous and electric. It's the 2021 Tata Motors Tigor electric vehicle. This review is going to be a bit different and a bit more personal because I'll be driving it more as a prospective buyer than as a journalist. I've been looking to get an affordable or a relatively affordable electric vehicle in my garage, and in this review we'll find out if this can be that car. If you've also been interested in a battery powered option at a relatively affordable price point, then this review is for you. Stay tuned. As far as compact sedans go, Tigor's looks aren't creating ripples, but I can't be hung up on style if buying an affordable EV. That said, the Tigor EV isn't shabby to look at all. It may not be extravagant, but the redesigned front bumpers, the new grille, the halogen headlights with LED DRLs, the LED tail lights, or even the blue accents on the alloy wheels do help its cause. Much like the outside, the cabin of this EV isn't flashy, and yet is somber and sedate. It doesn't matter one bit to me, but there's no sunroof in this car. And true that some of the more premium features like ventilated seats and air purifier are missing as well, perhaps to conserve battery. I, as a buyer, am okay with that. There are 3 variants of the new Tigor EV on offer, and depending on which variant you choose, you get features like this 7-inch infotainment screen right here. It supports Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, of course regular connections with Bluetooth audio, USB and all are there as well. There is support for about 30 connected apps on this system as well. Audio is handled by the very trusty Harman system, so that's great too. And the screen itself is very responsive to touch, and thankfully it isn't very reflective either. Below it are a set of utility buttons, and the entire setup is done up in piano black finish, which gives it a slightly premium appeal. But of course, the fact that this is an electric vehicle is also highlighted by this blue border around the central aircon and the side aircons right here. In terms of feature list, this car also gets a glove box that's cooled. The size isn't very impressive, but cooled glove box is a nice addition. There is some storage space right here for knickknacks. There is some storage space, like I have a bottle of sanitizer. It's a small little cup holder here. There is space to put your keys. Unfortunately though, something very basic like an armrest for the driver at least is missing. That said, the seats are nicely cushioned once again inside the Tigor EV. There is blue stitching all around. Quality seems to be pretty good. That's not something I can say about, well, the plastics on offer, but really it isn't a luxury vehicle, so I'll pretty much excuse Tata for the use of these hard plastics right here. The steering wheel has controls on top. You can control volume and a lot of other functionality. Voice command is only for phone and not for the main infotainment screen. And you can adjust it for height, but not for reach. Just behind it is the old digital driver display unit, and it's quite a futuristic one. It gives you all the data that you need related to your drive. So that includes your range in percentage, range in kilometers, the regenerative braking, and we'll come to that when we get the Tigor EV on the move. So it also puts out that display. And there is an electric version of an instantaneous consumption. So it tells you how economically you're driving this vehicle. Of course, there are 2 drive modes as well, and those can be controlled through this central dial on the center console. But we'll come to that as well a little later in this review. Now, if you do choose to buy the Tigor EV, you can also make use of the Tata Motors ZConnect app. You can download it from the Apple Store or the Android Store, and it looks something like this. Now, what it does is that you can make certain changes to your car just by using this app. So remote location. For example, I'm sitting in my house. I want the air conditioning to be turned on. I can just press this button right here, and 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you can choose the duration and the air conditioning will be on. Of course, it's password protected, so you can just put in a pin of your choice and the car will turn on the air conditioning system. Similarly, you can make use of functionalities like alarm. You can turn on or off your headlights. You can even locate your vehicle by just pressing the alarm button on this vehicle. Now, apart from that, you can also run a diagnosis of the vehicle to check that all the parameters and elements are working as they should. Once this is over, you will also get a message for service due. This particular unit service is due in another 6,763 kilometers. I hope you've already noticed that there is 77% charge or 165 kilometers still left on this vehicle. Now, there's a little over 300 liters of boot space in the new Tigor, except the fact that the spare wheel is positioned vertically, so it eats up into luggage space. You can, however, choose to take out the spare tire and keep it at home, because Tata Motors is providing, as standard, quick air pressure filling tire puncture kit. Quality issues are also visible on the boot lid as wires and sponge are exposed. One of the great things that I like about electric vehicles, any electric vehicle, is just how silent they are. That's it. Press of that push button and this car is ready to go. So let's see how this car performs. Engage, drive mode, central knob, and push off. Assuming you'll be driving the electric vehicle primarily in city conditions, the Tigor EV has good drive traits to handle city traffic conditions well. The steering wheel is nicely balanced, is nicely weighted, and we've encountered a whole lot of potholes during our drive so far, and the Tigor EV has managed to really negotiate all of them pretty well. Interestingly, we've also got this car and driven this across waterlogged roads, and the Tigor EV has managed to wade through everything that is wrong with Delhi roads, especially in rainy days like today is. In fact, it's also assuring to know that Tata Motors told us that you can do whatever you want on waterlogged roads and this car will perform, and just in case there is any emergency, we can call them for a rescue act. Happy to report that we've not had to call them so far, and this car has given us a whole lot of confidence. Now engage the sport mode and there's a whole lot of fun. Just check this out. The torque is absolutely instantaneous, so there is definitely power for the taking. That'll be a lot of fun on clean highway roads when you have to make overtaking moves, so that's great. The Tigor EV will go up against its sibling, the Nexon EV. Remember, there are certain differences and certain similarities between both vehicles from Tata Motors. The differences, well, the Tigor EV gets a slightly smaller battery pack and therefore a slightly lesser range than the Nexon EV. There's also less power, less torque, but remember again, this car is priced below the Nexon EV. It sits below the Nexon EV in classification segments as well. The price difference is about a lakh to a little over 2 lakhs depending on the variants that you're comparing of both the electric vehicles. Remember, the battery pack inside this car is IP rated and is waterproof, so that's a great thing. But some of our readers like you have also asked, can this car be charged under an open sky, and especially in rainy conditions? So yes, the answer to that is yes, it can be. And well, again, that is something that's pretty great too. Some of the questions that we get when we're driving an electric vehicle is also about what impacts the range. Now, a range in real world conditions can be impacted by factors like your driving, how you drive the vehicle, the incline, the terrain. In city conditions, you'll get a better range. On highways, well, not so much. It's exactly the opposite in the case of the conventional vehicles. So all of these factors do matter. Now, when we received this particular car, it had 240 kilometers of range. But having driven around 30 kilometers initially, we saw that the range had dipped by around 55 to 60 kilometers. The percentage indication of the charge left, perhaps, is a more clearer and accurate representation of when it is time to recharge this vehicle. From heavy showers in the morning to bright sunshine now in the afternoon, we've had quite an eventful day with the Tata Tigor 2021 EV. As a standalone product, this car right here makes a solid case for itself. But if you're looking to make this or any other electric vehicle as your only car, then a word of caution about the support infrastructure, which is still not right up there, and range anxieties may persist, especially on long drives. But if you already have a petrol or a diesel or even a CNG vehicle in the house, then this car right here can fit right in. What do you think about the car and this review? Do let us know. But for now, this is all that we have in this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.